The Essex farm at the centre of an international car smuggling ring. How the remote spot by the M25 is linked to London's car crime epidemic and its dark past as a hotbed for organised crime. Like many farms, Baldwins in South Essex is reached by winding lanes and surrounded by green fields, but the similarities end there. Tucked away in an area of green belt just inside the M25, Baldwin's farm consists of a small cluster of bungalows surrounded by a sprawling ramshackle industrial estate covered in shipping containers and the skeletons of old cars mined for scrap. While it's not the sort of place folk would venture unless they needed to, this strange spot and what happens there has long been a subject of whispered conversations among locals. Baldwin's farm has now attracted wider attention after a documentary that aired recently on national TV placed the site right at the centre of an international car smuggling ring. But as the Mail Online can reveal, this is far from the first time it is being linked to organised crime.
End of the site, near to what looks like shipping containers. I feel a bit ridiculous in sunglasses and a cap, but I do want to come back here at some point, potentially.
And you've got a big camera at the end, you can see.
Well, that's a powerful zoom lens.
There's a guy in a van around him.
Cameras down, cameras down, cameras down. We can't get closer without arousing suspicion, so we decide to leave for now.
In fact, the site has been a hotbed of gang activity stretching as far back as the 1980s. From drug smuggling to gun dealing, Baldwin's farm has seen it all. The recent documentary that featured Baldwin's farm began with an Audi A4 that was stolen from a driveway in North London on March the 15th. Unbeknown to the thieves, it had been fitted with a hidden tracker by the car leasing company. This tracker showed the Audi moving east towards the borough of Enfield before switching off. Then days later, it woke up 30 miles away in a patch of woodland in Baldwin's farm. It later emerged that the tracker was not transmitting, possibly due to the GPS jamming or blocking equipment. 5 weeks later, it suddenly reappeared in Kaunas, Lithuania, and was tracked to a business in the outskirts of the city called Baltic Car Trade. A team from Channel 4's dispatchers filmed police raiding on the property, but instead of the finding a blue Audi A4, all that was left of the vehicle was a bunch of wires. The car, like many stolen off the British streets, had been torn apart. Their extraordinary investigation revealed how organised gangs of criminals are stealing thousands of cars each year to then ship abroad as parts, destined for scrapyards in the Middle East and Africa. They reported that at least 2 other stolen cars with trackers had ended up at Baldwin's farm, in a part of the farm known as the Lithuanian end. According to one active car thief who spoke to the programme, Lithuania is a common destination for cars taken in Britain by criminals who use gadgets to exploit their keyless entry systems. Neil Thomas, a former police officer who works for a private track and recovery service for the stolen vehicles, was unsurprised. Baldwin's farm had been used to store them. The access in and out is quite restricted. It's quite close to London, quite close to the docks, so if you are exporting vehicles, geographically, it's really a good location, he said. Essex police said they could not obtain a warrant to recover the car because its tracker was not given a precise reading. While much of it is difficult to see from the road, drone images show dozens of parked vehicles, row after row of shipping containers, piles of scrap metal, and the smattering of garages and bungalows. Dispatchers identified a man called Martin Clark as the director of the company that owns the lease to the part of Baldwins farm that the car was found on. In 2007, he was jailed for 6 years for his part in a $4 million car theft ring. The team tracked him down to a large detached house in Essex with several luxury cars, including a Bentley, parked on the driveway behind a fence. Asked by journalist Matt Shee, he was aware of his site on Baldwin's farm was being used to store stolen cars. Mr. Clark replied, "F off. This is far from the first time stolen cars have been found at Baldwin's farm, with Essex police conducting a raid in 2020 that recovered 3 Range Rovers and a Land Rover Discovery. Some of the vehicles were already in the process of being broken down for parts, while others were mere shells with the chassis and wheels virtually the only elements remaining. There are plenty of legit businesses renting out units at Baldwin's farm, including a window companies and car repairers and a cement business run by the Bromley family, which owns a 3-gated off bungalows and owns much of the land. However, it has been long attracted a less wholesome clientele in the form of organised criminals who have had a presence there stretching back decades. Like many semi-rural parts of Essex, Baldwin's farm saw an influx of criminals from the East End during the 1970s and 1980s, with gangsters finding it useful to have the site near London with good transport links that was still relatively isolated with plenty of land. Dave McLeavy, a retired Met Police DCI, has carried out numerous arrests at the site from as far back as 1989 and told Mail Online it had long been linked to drugs, firearms and stolen vehicles. Baldwin's farm was always a hotbed for major criminals, he said. The police arrested gangster Tony Dooley for running a chop shop where stolen car parts were split up and running an amphetamine factory. Essex police were well aware of shady goings-on at Baldwin's farm and put together a 14-month undercover investigation that looked into its owners, the Bromleys, and their associates who were selling cocaine and firearms from the site and the Stones Throw pub in South Ockenden. Named Operation Portwing, undercover officers struck up a relationship with the gang and were regularly sold drugs and offered guns. Family matriarch Linda Bromley was convicted of drug supply but spared jail in 2007. A year earlier, her husband David Bromley, who died aged 76 in 2022, and their son Simon Bromley, 55, were jailed for 3 years and 8 years respectively for cocaine supply offences, with the latter also convicted of firearm supply. The site also attracted the attention of police in 2002 following the mysterious death of Lee Barkwell, 33, whose body was found wedged between the chassis and drum of a cement mixer. Simon Bromley had said the pair were each using electric Kango drills and spades to chip dried cement from the inside of the drum with an electric light until about 1 a.m. when he left the drum and got into the cab with the intention of slowly rotating it. He said it spun more quickly than expected and Lee must have been ejected by a slide hatch before becoming wedged where he was found. David called 999 and paramedics and police arrived on the scene. Despite the highly unusual circumstances, Simon was not initially arrested and given time to change his clothes. No charges followed, but Lee Barkwell's father would not drop the case, and after a series of reviews, it was reopened in 2010, and in November 2012, 4 members of the Bromley family and another man were arrested. Simon was charged with manslaughter by gross negligence and failing to ensure the health and safety of Les as his employer. He was cleared of manslaughter charge but found guilty of the lesser offence. During the police investigation, a significant cannabis grow was found at the Baldwins farm, and Bromley Simon admitted to cultivating cannabis offences and was jailed for 3 years. He has never spoken to the media about Mr. Barkwell's death, but in 2012, David gave the family's only interview in which he insisted it was an accident and his death had deeply affected them all. Over the following years, as Mr. Barkwell's father continued his campaign for answers, Baldwin's farm remained of interest to the authorities due to repeated claims the site was being used to hide stolen cars and illegally burn waste. In 2009 and 2010, raids discovered stolen cars and evidence of rubbish, including electricals, being illegally shipped to Africa. During a raid in October 2016, police, the Environmental Agency, HMRC, and Immigration Enforcement discovered more than 900 stolen gas bottles worth $50,000. The following July, the Environmental Agency secured a $120,000 fine against the company called PCS Recycling for illegal waste tipping and storage at Baldwin's farm and another site. As recently as April last year, police and environmental officials enforced a restriction order to stop illegal waste, dumping and burning on the farm. Despite the long association between Baldwin's farm and organised crime, the younger generation of Bromleys who now run the site insist they are doing everything in their power to clean it up. Simon Bromley's 29-year-old son Jake insisted that whatever his father or grandmother Linda did in the past have nothing to do with how Baldwin's farm is run now. My granddad has died and my nan is very ill at the moment, he told the Mail Online. I fitted windows for 8 years and I've come down to Baldwin's farm to help my nan. That land they are on about in the dispatches programme has been transferred to me. That stolen Audi has nothing to do with us, and we have nothing to do with the land where the Lithuanians are. Referring to Martin Clark, who dispatchers reported as holding the lease to the land that the stolen Audi was tracked to, he said, "We rent the land to Martin. He has a contract until 2026, and then we will review that. We do not like how he has run it down there." Jake said that he is and his 25-year-old beautician sister Lily were trying to make a legitimate living and feared negative publicity could drive away future clients. "I'm a legitimate man who's worked hard his whole life. I fitted windows for over 10 years, and my sister is a makeup artist and runs her business here," he said. "My sister and I are both young. What happened years ago was not great, but as time has gone on, we both have strong heads on us." In February this year, Jake and Lily Targa were both made directors of the new company Baldwins Farm Limited, which says it was established for the letting and operating of owned or leased real estate. A family friend also insisted the younger generation of Bromleys would have been unaware of any illegal ongoings. Nobody has told them about the TV programme. They have no idea about the stolen cars. They, the criminals, will have to get off the site, the friend said. For local law enforcement, for whom Baldwin's Farm has been a major headache for decades, this would be a dream outcome. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my crime channel. Thank you.